Hey everyone, welcome on in to today's YouTube video where we are going to be giving you one tip for every single attacker in Rainbow Six Siege. There are a total of 56 operators in Rainbow Six Siege as of right now in Steel Wave, and that is 28 on attack. Now we did in fact cover one of these where we gave you one tip for every defender in Rainbow Six Siege, so we're now going to be continuing on, giving you new and fresh tips that are going to be not commonly known to the Siege community. Now the way this is going to work is I'm going to be doing it in alphabetical order, so we'll go all the way from A, all the way down to Z with the operators. So if this video does help you out or you enjoy it, be sure to drop a like on the video. And now let's dive on into these tips for the attackers. Now the operator who's going to be starting off for us today is going to be Ace. And a little trick for Ace is that if you do want to open two full reinforcement walls, well, what you can do if you combine them together and position them at the correct angle, you will be able to do it. As you can see, I've positioned them on the little reinforcement here and the other one to the side of it. Now the way I've positioned it is going to mean that when they set off, the whole reinforcement is going to open up. The positioning for this one is fairly straightforward if you do copy what I've done here. Now next up is going to be a Morrow. Now a Morrow is perfect in situations that are going to be very specific. A Morrow doesn't work on every single map or site, but there are a few where she can really come into play. For example, on Consular, if you go and spawn where I have come in from here, what you can very easily do if they are going to be playing on console office is in fact instantly get into bathroom. Now this is a little more basic one, but I'm just going to show you a very easy pocket strategy that you can pull off. When following this route, you do get into the bathroom very easily. You can position a pre-placed drone in there if you need a little bit of intel before you go in, and it's great for getting that early map control. Now one of my favourites for a Morrow is going to be on Bank. What you can do is spawn over here, and if you choose the correct window when you use your Gara hook, you will actually land outside of Archives. Now this is great if you want to go ahead and get that early map control or take Archives. As well, you can also push down two blue stairs and make your way through there. The next tip is going to be for Ash. Now Ash has her breaching rounds which can take out a lot of utility. If that utility is going to be electrified, Ash won't be able to take it out. However, instead what I recommend you to do is shoot your breaching round at a soft surface around it, whether that's a floor or a wall, and the impact surrounding it is going to take that utility out even if it is electrified. Next up is going to be Blitz. Now Blitz is an operator where they are going to need distance, the enemy is, in order to survive, as if Blitz catches up, he's really going to cause them a hassle. So keep that in mind when you are going to be playing Blitz. Now another little trick for him is that when the shield gets meleeed, Blitz's shield is going to expose his body and he can very easily be shot at. Now the trick to counter this is when it does happen, what I want you to do is turn your screen or your mouse or your controller stick to the right. If you move it to that right hand side in the correct pace, what it is going to do is bring your shield back to cover, so it's going to be a lot harder for them to shoot at you. And overall, as a Blitz main, it's a great trick to pull in. Now next up we do have Buck. Buck is the master of vertical play. Now vertical play is great for attacking sites, however, not many players are going to know where they should be coming from when to attack a site. Now for example, on a map like Chalet, not many players know to play vertically, as the most common push is going to be to come from the reinforced wall or around the other way of sight. Now this is when the attackers are going to be attacking Snowmobile Garage. Now with Buck there are many spots for vertical play, so bear this in mind. Now if you come from above and you go into the lobby area, what you can do is very easily open up a new angle onto that bottom site, so you can see the defenders and any one bandit tricking the reinforced wall. Not many players do know to play vertically on this site especially, and there are many other sites like this where you might not think it would be useful or you don't know about a spot, but there actually is one and it is very handy. Now next up we do have possibly one of the most toxic operators in Rainbow Six Siege, Blackbeard. Now the tip here is that Blackbeard equals profit. That's right, what I'd recommend you to do is put your shield on, go and rappel on a window, and you will be able to get profit purely from that. But if you do really want to spice it up here with your Blackbeard main, what I would recommend doing is upside down rappelling. You can get an even spicier angle onto your enemy and the profit is in abundance. Next up is going to be Capitao, and if you didn't already know, what you can do with Capitao is that his fire bolts and his smoke bolts can actually go through a bullet hole. If you are on a soft wall and you simply make a bullet hole and you keep that same line of sight when you go ahead and pull out your ability, what will happen is that you can shoot through the other side simply through a bullet hole. Now if we then apply this to an in-game situation, a very common mirror setup is going to be on Villa, and that is when they are going to be playing Aviator. What you can do with Capitao is you come over to this spot that I've gone to. If you simply make a bullet hole and you keep that same ADS position, when you pull out your ability and use your firebolt, it is going to go directly in that mirror spot. So anyone attacking that mirror spot is going to actually have to move from their position or die. A little tip for Dokkaebi is that when you go on her phone, it actually says subscribe to Match. Sorry about that one, I think Dokkaebi's phone got hacked. Anyway, the tip for Dokkaebi is that when they go to answer their phone, if you combine that with IQ, you can very easily see them on their phone. As you can see, it does work when the defenders hop on their cameras, and then if a defender got called by Dokkaebi, hopped on their phone to go and deny the call, if IQ was there as well to combine it, what would actually happen is that they would be able to see them on their phone and essentially see them from a wall. Now for Finka, you probably don't know all of the benefits and disadvantages that she is going to offer you. Well, I'll go ahead and list them out for you. Now Finka does reduce your recoil, it will reduce the ADS speed. As well, Pulse is able to see Finka from a larger distance, which is obviously going to be a negative. Smoke canisters do more damage when that Finka boost has been activated. There is going to be a lot of noise for your teammates. As well, it does give you a little bit of a health boost. And when a teammate is going to be downed but not out in that state or position, they can get revived by Finka's ability. And on top of that, flashbangs are going to last half as long as they did before, and as well, concussions are going to be avoided if the Finka boost has been activated. For example, if Echo concussed a teammate, Finka activates her ability, this concussion is going to be removed. And as well, NEL or Grismot Mine concussions are going to be reduced in the time that they will last. As well, you can also move through barbed wire a lot faster, and that reload speed is going to be decreased. Next up is going to be Fuse. Now with the way the shrapnel system works in Rainbow Six Siege, it does mean that you can damage an enemy player with Fuse from a different level, different floor, with actually just coming in from a different angle. For example, on Consular, if they're going to be on the garage, I can come onto this window with Fuse, and after 2 to 3 of the cluster charges have gone off, I'm first of all going to kill the defender on the pallets by the white van, but if you come and look where the damage did end up going, I get a wide spread here. If there are multiple defenders on the enemy team and they are in these positions, I'm going to get a lot of damage and a lot of vertical play destruction. Now with Glaz, he might be a little bit of an underrated operator here, isn't the strongest operator, but the tip is to cover from afar. You can very easily clear rooms for your teammates from a safe distance simply by covering the window. If you are going to be getting aggressive with Glaz, it is very going to easily kill you. I would recommend coordinating with the team and clearing and covering them from afar. Moving on to Gridlock, you can use your tracks or your ability to block off stairwells, which is going to cause roamers not to travel up there. This is quite frankly going to block off your flank, and is going to cause you and your team to have a little bit more of cover. Now when you do use your smoke grenades as Gridlock, you want to be screening the plant. This is going to allow you to get more cover when planting that diffuser, and it is not going to signal to the enemy that you should throw a C4 here, because I am planting directly on this diffuser. With Hibana, did you know that you are able to get a walkable rotation hole simply using one of Hibana's Enquiries pellets? Yep, that is correct. If you position it correctly, I'm going to show you the logistics or the kind of area where you do need to place that down. If you position it correctly, you are able to make a walkable or crouchable rotation here for Hibana simply by using one of her ability. Now next up for Iana, Vigil will be able to deceive Iana's holograms when they are activated. Vigil, all he needs to do is activate his ability and he can deceive it, similar to a lion's ability. A little bit of a bait trick that you can pull off with Iana is quite simply activating your ability like you normally would to scout the intel. If you see a defender, what you are able to do then, once your ability recharges up, is to activate it but then instantly deactivate that to get out of it, move forward, and the defender is going to expect that it is going to be an Iana hologram, but in fact it is just you coming round and you baited them, and you can very easily pick yourself up a free kill. IQ has got a lot of defenders that she can counter. Now IQ can very easily counter Vigil, Clash, Pulse, the diffuser, and as well the cameras when the defenders hop onto them. These are all going to be electronics or electronic abilities. When IQ brings out her ability, she can very easily see these defenders with their ability activated. Next up for Jackal, there is going to be a rule of thumb that you can follow to identify the footprints from what operator will leave those footprints behind before you've even scanned and activated your ability, and as well you're also able to detect how long those footprints have been there simply just off the colour. Now to do this, you simply need to bring up this image and either try to memorize or know a few of the footprints that you can identify. The colours are quite easy to remember, or you can simply bring it up on a second monitor. Now this image, this very useful insight to the Jackal footprints, was made by user Keyfax on Reddit. This can be extremely useful for a little bit more intel when using Jackal. Now next up for Kali, she is going to work best from afar, similar to Glaz. She can get aggressive with that SMG as a secondary as an option though. Now, for example, on a map like Bank, Callie can very easily cover the top site on Console Office when Callie is going to be in the parking lot. This is ages away from the objective, but she's very easily able to gather a lot of intel from the cover that she can see and create a lot of pressure purely from that. Covering afar is her go-to. Now, a little tip for Lion is to not activate your ability at the very start of the round. It is not going to be useful at all for your team to know where the defenders are going to be during 5 seconds after that preparation phase. Use it instead when you are going to be pushing to compromise their position, but do remember Vigil is able to deceive his ability. Now for Maverick, who is a very complex operator, but a strong one at the same time, what you are able to do with him is make a crouchable rotation hole in a reinforcement only roundabout using one gas canister of his blowtorch. Now for Montaigne, a little tip here is that he doesn't always need to carry the diffuser, a support player can cover it instead. Now use him as intel and coordinate in a team. He can be very strong when using this as he can't very easily get shot at, and he can gather a lot of intel for your team. Now another little tip for you Monty mains is that simply binding a ping button that is going to be very easy for you to access what you use to ping enemies. If you bind it to a keybind that is going to be easy for you to access, you can easily ping the enemy a lot very frequently and gather a lot of intel for your team. Next up for Nomad is that some people are going to cover runouts in the incorrect positions. For example, on Consular on this window on yellow stairs, if you place your air jab up at the top, it's not going to set off and trigger. Instead, if you place it down low when the enemy actually hits the ground, instead it'll trigger then, and that is a lot more effective. A little tip for Nock is that she deceives Mozzie drones or cameras, and I would recommend you using her as an anti-roamer. She can very easily flush them out. And remember, she does deceive those Mozzie drones as well. Now, Sledge's ability does work in a very weird way. For example, on his duration that he does have, how many hits he can use with his sledgehammer, it is going to work in a bit of an odd way. If you use your ability on the regular soft wall, it is going to use up 2 hits. However, if you play vertically and take out a little bit of a ledge or the roof, it is going to actually use 1 of that durability. Remember to keep that in mind when you are going to be using him. Now as well, another tip for Sledge is that you can pull off a little bit of a nade trick here by simply pulling out your grenades, not cooking them at all, throwing it down on the ground, then using your sledgehammer, and if it is on a soft floor or roof, the grenade is going to fall down to the bottom, and if there is an anchor holding that position, they're gonna get a nasty surprise from above. Now for Thatcher, when facing a bandit tricker, they often rely on that blue light that does happen from the EMP when it gets thrown down to signal when they need to go ahead and bandit trick. What you can do with Thatcher on a map like Clubhouse, if you're playing CCTV, you can come from above and place down your EMP there. The blue light is going to be at the very roof, so the bandit tricker isn't going to see this at all, and as well it still takes out those bandit charges. Now a tip for Thermite is going to be Thermite tricking. This is a very simple process where you move the way you're going to be placing down your Thermite charge, essentially bandit tricking, but you are going to be faking out that bandit with your Thermite charge, moving it around, creating a confusion with the sound. Now for Twitch, I'd recommend saving your Twitch drone in the prep phase at all times. Take out gadgets and cameras on your teammate's route or push point where you are going to be moving through, especially taking out those default cameras that aren't going to be too near to sight, as you don't want your Twitch drone getting shot out. It is so useful, and Mozzie can capture that drone and steal it. Now for Ying, with the way her ability works, she can roll her candelas far from a distance. The rolling technique is going to allow you to roll these candelas off a wall and ping them and rebound them around, which does make for some crazy angles that you can get, and then you can rebound these off into a certain area that is going to allow you to push in and gain that map control. And the final tip on the list is going to be for Zafia, and for Zafia's ability, when using her concussions, her half side of her ability, you should be using them to clear rooms. They are going to instantly detonate if there is a defender in that room, they get the concussed effect. However, if there is no defender in there, they are not going to instantly detonate and they'll take a few seconds to go off. Great for gathering intel. And that right there is one tip for every single attacker in Rainbow Six Siege. We've now covered one for the defenders, and as well this one for the attackers. If there is anything else you would like me to cover, be sure to let me know down below in the comments and I will take a look. As well, if the video did help you out or you enjoyed it, be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe if you'd like to see more of these and more tips and tricks for Rainbow Six Siege. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.